Mayor Smith is out today, and so I'm going to take over for him. I'm going to ask Reverend Harvey if he would come up and do the prayer for us, and we'll go with the pledge.
First, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come and share this evening. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in this day. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come specifically for the purpose of lifting up our council members, especially our mayor in absentia, our vice mayor, our city manager, all the administrators of the city of Tifton government. As we come not begrudgingly, but we come with thanksgiving in our hearts. For you know, Lord God, you made a way for us to be here today. We say thank you. Look on the city council inclusively and respectfully as they take on the responsibility to administrate our city, guide them through and by your unction of your Holy Spirit. We thank you, Lord God, for not only for the council members, we thank you, Lord God, also for the chief of police, our friend Brother Dowdy. Continue, Lord, to bless him and to bless all the officers who lay lives on the line each and every day to protect the citizenry of the city of Tifton, as well as the fire chief. We pray now for the inclusiveness of not only of the city council, but as well as the county government, that they will come together inclusively to promulgate rules and regulations and opportunities for the total citizenry of Tift County. We thank you for this opportunity again. Bless right now and touch right now through and by your Holy Spirit. Bless us now as we embark upon this meeting on tonight. Bless every Christian organization in this community that's Christ-centered, Bible-based, Holy Spirit-led, and mission-bound. We thank you, Lord God, for the inscription on all of our monies that says, in God we trust. And I believe in my heart from my experience with the person whom I know in this community. They're more than politicians, but they are official, elected officials who work on behalf of the citizenry, the total constituency of Tift County and Tifton County, Georgia. Bless right now and touch right now. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next we have is the approval of the agenda. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. All right. Approval of the minutes. Minutes from September the 18th council meeting, October 2nd workshop, and the October 9th call workshop. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. All right, we got some special presentations. First, we're going to do the proclamation for the Go Light Up Your World Day. Do I? There's two of them, okay. All right, so we're going to do the Go Light Up Your World Day, and then we'll do the other. Will the folks with Go Light Up Your World Day associated with that please come down front with me? Oh, come on over here. Don't be shy. Good. How you doing?
Mr. Vice, how are you?
All right, well, I'll read this proclamation now. Whereas a non-profit collaborative youth or the Tift County Commission on Child and Youth shares the Georgia Family Connections focus of improving the conditions for children, family, and communities by serving as a local decision-making body and bringing community partners together to develop, implement, evaluate plans that address the serious challenges facing Georgia's children and families. And whereas by working closely with various community partners, TC3Y is able to foster local relationships, increase policymakers' awareness of local issues, put into action proven practices, and leverage additional funding to support the community plan for Tift County. And whereas having luminaries lit throughout the county at the same time with the same mission of joining together for our children's best interests while envisioning that anywhere you go in Tift County, you will see the light and recognize how unified we are as a community in our efforts to ensure that children have a safe and caring environment and vision of a community-wide event. And whereas by working together with faith-based organizations and community agencies, clubs, businesses, and individuals on this specific day, TC3Y strives to keep the youth of Tift County safe and out of gangs by offering alternative positive activities with hopes throughout the year. And especially on this day, our community will provide encouraging, constructive programs for our youth and encourages involvement in positive activities. Now therefore, I, Wes Ahlers, Vice Mayor of the City of Tifton, on behalf of the Tifton City Council, do hereby proclaim October 25th, 2017 as Go Light Up Your World Day for the City of Tifton. And I encourage my fellow citizens to join me in working with the Tift County Commission on Children and Youth as we endeavor to provide the best community and environment for our children, youth, families in Tift County. Given under my hand and seal, this day is the 16th day of October, 2017. Okay.
You gonna talk about that thing you got in your hand?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
For those of you who are not familiar with Go Light Up Your World, this is the 4th year that we have did it in Tift County. It is something that originated in Tift County and is actually being looked at by regional people as being an event that they might host as well. This is a way that in our county we can visibly show our support for our youth. What we found was that we had lots of youth who didn't have a place to be, and we have studied, and what we found is that healthy and positive behaviors, healthy and productive behaviors is the best way to combat that. So we work and strive to find positive activities and positive ways to involve the youth in Tift County. And we hope that the whole county will. This will be a time when everybody, as he said, when he was reading everything, he went all the way from government down to individuals. Everybody in the county would be able to participate, and that night we started on Wednesday night, the last Wednesday of the month of October for a couple of reasons. It usually is the Wednesday before Halloween when lots of kids are out on the streets and things, so we want them to know that we support them. And also, those of you who are familiar, it's Red Ribbon Week. So it's sort of just the perfect time for us as a community to come together, be aware that we need to support our youth and we need to let them see that we support them. So we have asked that everybody who will, anybody in this room, we would like for to. Most people I see are, quite a few people are already supporting this, and City of Tifton and school system, police department. I mean, we have everybody on board this year, or a lot of people on board, and there's room for each of you in the room, so if you want direction, you can give me a call, and I'll be glad to get you signed up, and we appreciate each and every one of you and what you do for the youth, and we appreciate that you're joining together with us for this effort to show the youth that we care.
Thank you all so much for all that you do. We'll keep on with the presentations, or the proclamation, excuse me. Any of our retired educators in the building tonight? Come on. Got one. You're not retired yet, but.
I'm not retired teacher until the superintendent on the stage.
Which I can get from my office.
Everybody's got pictures. Okay, all right. Proclamation of the City of Tifton proclaimed November 5th, 2017 as Retired Educators Day. Whereas the governor of the state of Georgia has proclaimed that the day of Sunday, November 5th, 2017 as Retired Educators Day in Georgia. And whereas there are more than 92,000 retired educators in Georgia, over 22,000 are members of the Georgia Retired Educators Association. Y'all members? Whereas the retired educators of Georgia donated thousands of hours of volunteer service and making valuable contributions to the welfare of our respective communities across the state. And whereas it is appropriate that the day be designated for the citizens to express their appreciation for the contributions that retired educators have made to continue to make for the betterment of human lives for society. And whereas local churches will recognize those lasting contributions made for retired educators in this community. And now, I therefore, Wes Ehlers, Vice Mayor of the City of Tifton, do hereby proclaim a day of November 5th, 2017 as Retired Educators Day. And I will call upon the citizens of Tifton to observe this day in the appropriate manner honoring retired educators. Given under my hand and seal in Tifton, Georgia, on the 16th day of October, in the year of our Lord 2017. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. All right. All right, next is introduction of new police officers.
On behalf of the Tifton Police Department, we're proud to present to y'all two of our new officers, Mark Driscoll and Mark Stone. They just recently graduated from the Police Academy about a month ago. They're now going through the Field Training Officer Program. It's a 12-week program that we put them through. And we're glad to have them, and I think they're going to be good additions to our department force.
Welcome aboard. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Good luck. All right, next, Patrick Atwater with Tift County Board of Education.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Ehlers and Chairman, members of the Tift County Commission. I saw on the agenda when I arrived tonight, this was listed as a special presentation. I said, dear Lord, I didn't know it was a special presentation. I could have packed this house with people just to show you how special it is to the Tift County school system, the partnership that we have had for over 25 years with the City Council and City Commission. The Board of Education, since my early years, partnered back at the time with Chief Smith and the City Council at that time, and since that point of time forward, we have enjoyed what I would say, and I can say with confidence as someone who's been here since its inception, it is the longest lasting and most fruitful, productive, best partnership that we've had with any, whether they be adopted school partners or any partnership, whether they are paid or free. This has been one of the most productive and fruitful partnerships that we have had the pleasure of being a part of. Pete asked me, or City Manager Brzezinski asked me to just say a few words about our partnership, and spoken with Chief Dowdy. I could, as I've said, I could bring in hundreds of people who have benefited from this partnership, students, parents, students who may have had concerns, or students who may have come to have known these SROs in the school building, and those SROs helped them out in the street, or have known them in the streets, and have known what some of their challenges were. So it's been good in a multitude of ways. Just some numbers, and I know that you all have your own set of numbers financially, and we've got what our reimbursements have been over the past many years, but some numbers about students, and people sometimes don't realize exactly how large a school system can be, and we are a medium-sized school district, large for your rural areas of the state, but we have roughly 8,000 students on any given day, and of those 8,000, all but 7,000 are within the city limits. J.T. Reddick is in the county, which it would be in the city if we could annex it to get better gas rates, but it's not. J.T. Reddick is still in the county, and Omega is in the county. We've not been able to annex Omega, obviously, because there's really no road leading there to get it. Right. But those schools that we have been able to annex into the city limits, they have been annexed in years past. So with the exception of Reddick and Omega, all of our students are in the city limits at 7,000. And we have roughly 1,200 employees, including food service and bus drivers. And of those, roughly 1,000 of them are inside the city limits on a daily basis. And as Chief Dowdy and I have looked at some numbers, he uses the figure 10,000 or more. On some days it closes in on 12,000 in the mornings and in the afternoons if we have 50 to 60% of our parents bringing their students to and from school. So we have a large population under just a handful of roofs within the city of Tifton, and they're very, very jammed in there with numbers of bodies. So we've been very fortunate to have our SROs. And something we added last year, we worked out with Chief Dowdy, and he has allowed, and the City Council has allowed, is in addition to our SROs, we're averaging around $70,000 a year in compensation for off-duty police officers. And although this was not part of the original partnership, we saw the benefits of the SROs at 8th Street and Northeast and Tift County High School and 6th Street Academy. The benefits were so great for those schools in having that uniformed officer in the buildings on a daily basis is that our primary schools were asking, can we see more of a uniform presence? And both the police chief and the sheriff had been very gracious in years past, allowing their officers to visit the schools when able. What we have been able to work with Chief Dowdy this year and beginning some last year is increasing the opportunities for the off-duty officers and paying them while they're off-duty to build that relationship. And we have seen a massive increase in the number of hours that on-duty, non-SRO, they're off-duty, but they're in uniform, visiting our schools. And if I could bring the teachers in across our community, across our schools, who give kudos to just seeing those uniformed officers in the building. The uniformed officers off-duty paid by the school system in our primary schools has probably been one of the best things for our community within our school community, and that those students are seeing police officers early. And you could walk in on any given day and you'll see one of those kindergartners, first graders with their arms around some officer's leg, giving them a hug at the knee or bending over. It's just been very productive for our community. It's been a proactive, built wonderful trust between our students and our children. Obviously, there's some opportunities for those disruptive students that we definitely do need the SROs. But I would say the environment that we're living in now, the on-duty officers via SROs and the off-duty officers have really prevented a lot of parental misbehavior. Our adult behavior we have seen in recent decades is declining. Parents choose to have their arguments over custody in public places, and they typically like to have those arguments over custody in some of our school settings. So having that uniformed police officer there has defrayed multiple opportunities for parents' arguments to get out of hand, specifically dealing with custody battles or sometimes attendance and other issues. So it has had a multitude of benefits. Again, I could bring in parents, teachers, students, and all of them could attest to this city council what a wonderful opportunity it has been for our police officers, but also our community. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may. I may not have the answers, but
And you might not on this one. Of those students, do you know how many actually reside inside the city limits?
no, we don't. I could now. If you want me to get that information, we can extrapolate that data and find out of our 7,000 how many live. The majority do. I know that we, in the city limits, we run buses specifically for a certain age group because of the condensed population. County, we run K-12 on the same buses because a lot of the county is more sparsely populated. But I can get those numbers for you. It's a good question. We do have the opportunity and the ability to extrapolate that from our residents and see who's in the city, who's in the county.
And I'd also be curious as far as teachers, administrators, that kind of thing, how many of them actually live inside the city limits?
No, that would be a wild guess, probably 50%. We have a good number of teachers who travel from out of the county, don't even live in the county. Probably 90% of our teachers live in the city and or the county. Of those, I'm just going from just knowledge of our teachers base, probably 50% within the city and the rest in the county or out of county.
Jack, I'll just say one thing that Superintendent Atwater did make a comment that the only school that's not inside the city limits is J.T. Reddick and Omega. Neither one of those schools need a resource officer at it. So every school that needs one in there is inside the city limits.
Correct.
These Tift County High, it's just if an individual from out of county or not inside the city limits were to be arrested by the city of Tifton Police, we don't ask them if they live inside the county. We're protecting what's inside the city limits. And even though they may be students and teachers that may not live inside the city limits or the county, at the end of the day, we are in charge of enforcing and protecting those people. That's why.
I don't disagree with that. My only point is who's going to pay for it?
Well, we are, because we're in charge of protecting them.
But it's certainly a benefit to the students, it's a benefit to the school system, which is countywide, okay? And to ask the taxpayers of the city of Tifton to pay what amounts to over 60% of the cost, I think it's a great program. All four of mine went right through the school system and saw it, but it's a bigger benefit to the school system, and that gives everybody there throughout the county sharing in the cost. not the citizens, the residents and taxpayers of the city of Tifton paying 60 to 70% of the cost for 5 officers. So that's,
Well,
Certainly. I came to make a special presentation, not to debate. I could debate it.
well, no,
Obviously,
I guess that's gonna be-
I've come here just to make a special presentation.
No, I
we're making it
understand
extra
that.
special.
Sure, well,
The,
I could
under
come
the
back with
consent
data.
agenda, there's a line item about, the agreement, to approve the resource officer's agreement with the school system or whatnot. And I think some of the questions that he had, was within our workshop or whatnot. I was just trying to address those.
Okay, now, I can bring those numbers back if you like, at any time, because we've had a wonderful relationship with the city with the SRO agreement, and look forward to an extended period of time in the future. But those numbers, they're good questions. I've asked those questions myself in years past, and they were actually asked during Mike Ballmer's tenure 5, 6, 8 years ago. These type of questions were being asked at that time as well. We've been through these questions in the past, and certainly can get those numbers to you again in the future. Thank you all.
Thank you. I might have got one on Saturday, Joe.
I would have just for you. Those of you that don't know, there was a game Saturday.
That involved my team versus his
He did not
team.
wear his Auburn shirt. I'd be embarrassed to wear it too.
Where's my gambling? Order? No. Citizens input, Jessica, do we have anybody that signed in from citizens input?
We have one more on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Brown.
I'm sorry, I do apologize. Kenneth Brown with the Internal Revenue Service.
Get you.
Thank you, Honorable Les Bellers and staff. Thank you for having us today. I am Kenneth Brown, invited here graciously from Pete. We appreciate the invite. And our purpose here today, I want to make it clear, we are not here to audit anybody, so. Okay. Basically, I'm a relationship manager with the Internal Revenue Service, Wage and Investment Division. Shane Davis, my coworker. I work out of Savannah, Georgia, and Shane works out of Atlanta. Our purpose here today is to share some valuable information for you, Greater Tifton. As a matter of fact, we were here earlier during the Hispanic festival last weekend, so I was offered to retire here too. So this is a great city. I've been with the IRS more than 38 years, so it's near retirement time. So I appreciate the invite. What we're here for tonight is to share some valuable information with the city of Tiff and basically southwest Georgia, Tifton, Albany, and Valdosta. What you have in your folder, we work with the free income tax program, the free, VITA, and AARP. Those are our two partners in the area. And we work with those programs in order to provide free income tax preparation to the citizens of Tiff County, Dougherty, and also Valdosta. So what you have in your possession now is information about the free income tax program. Shane will come in a little bit later and talk to you about the program that you did have. You did have a free program here operating in the past. So we basically here to try to revigorate that program for Tifton. So many times things happen in the bigger cities, Atlanta, Savannah, Georgia, and the rural areas get left out of the picture, so we're here to be sure that you all get just as much attention as everyone else gets. So what I've given you in your packet, this sheet here, if you take a look at this sheet explains to you what comes into the city, the county of Tifton by the free income tax program. So I did it for Dougherty, which is Albany, Valdosta. So my concentration will be to the bottom, which is Tiff County. So it shows the amount of returns that was prepared in Tiff County, and shows the amount of income that is generated that comes into Tiff County. You may not be aware, but if you look at the impact, more than $17 million of earned income tax credit comes into Tiff County. 17. And I'm pretty sure that money is spent in Tiff County in neighboring areas. So the sums of all the refunds, if you continue on to column 1, 2, 3, 4, of all the refunds that comes into Tiff County is $33.7 million. And this as of 2015. That comes into Tiff County from refunds of tax returns. Our purpose is to provide free service for the low income and the elderly, and for those folks who actually qualify for this free service. Everything's free. We're looking for volunteers. RS provides the training. Everything's free. The training's free, etc. So there's no resource on the county or the city at all. Basically, we just need volunteers and people that's going to volunteer their time, and we train them and certify them.
All right, so as Ken mentioned, a few years ago, we did have an AARP site that was sponsored down in the library. And due to some significant issues regarding leadership and volunteers, et cetera, the volunteer site was dissolved because of that reason. And so we're here because we know it's a need in the community. And so we're out here trying to get the support of the city again. Anything you can do to support the endeavor. The VITA program is a national program. We do about 3.5 million returns nationally. In Georgia, we do about 80,000 returns. So we just, as Ken mentioned, we're here today just to give information about our organization. IRS does have a community outreach program, and we're just here to partner with the community, and we're hoping that we can partner here with you in Tifton once again. We do have some volunteers, hopefully, in the audience here that is support what we're trying to do. But again, we know that it's a need here in Tifton, and that's what we're here today to try to give you all information to see what we can do to come together to get it working again for this upcoming filing season.
That's it. Any questions or comments?
No, I appreciate y'all coming.
Yes, sir.
Pete and I had talked, and I went to the library last year, and they said AARP wasn't gonna do it. So I went to Fran at the senior center, legal in our senior center, and said, can we put something together? And wasn't enough time, and so Pete and I talked, and then I found out Fran told me y'all were coming, so it's a big need,
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
huge need here.
When will you start soliciting volunteers? And
Yesterday. Well, as soon as possible. We have begun. We have a few in the audience who are very much interested, but we are.
We started, so we're getting through trainings upcoming. So we usually start training up, I'd say October, November. So we're getting ready to gear up for training, so that we can get volunteers trained and ready to go for the upcoming filing season as far as tax law and software. So time is of an essence because we're kind of a little bit behind now. Yeah.
so if we put this on maybe a couple of our sites or our government channel to contact you for further information,
Yes.
is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Is this service only available for those who maybe file a 1040 EZ or?
No, 1048 Schedule A. With the volunteers are certified at certain particular levels, even up to capital gains type Schedule D. So
Okay.
it just depends upon the volunteers' certification.
I got you.
So, and income can go as far as $100,000 if based on the certification of the volunteer.
The scope is based
Scope,
on
exactly.
schedules, et cetera, so it just depends on how far the volunteer wants to go, and then that's the level of scope that the site would actually be doing. And all volunteers are covered underneath the Volunteer Protection Act of 1997, so there's no liability in that perspective, but that's how the scope goes.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
And we would love to have the two retired teachers there. That's all good. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming.
Okay.
We'll get the word out.
All right, good deal. All right, so we already know that there's no citizen input. Next will be the consent agenda. Does council want to take these individually or take them as a group?
I'd like to pull out number 6.
Number 6?
Separate.
Okay. All right. The consent agenda we discussed over in workshop already. Do we need to make a motion to take 6 out? Or just approve 5 and 7? 5 and 7?
Just take 5 and
Okay.
5 and 7.
I'll take a motion for 5 and 7.
So moved.
I got a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. 5 and 7, all right. Unanimously approved. All right, line item 6 was the approval of the agreement with Tift County Board of Education and school resource officers.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, it's late, it's October. School system's already got their budget. I mean, I realize that. But I think before we do this next year, we don't need to, we shouldn't be approving it in October. We're gonna do it next year, we need to approve it in April or whenever the budget's happening, so that we can all be on the same page with the school as to how much it's gonna cost. And you know my views to what, I don't think they're paying enough, but we can negotiate that next year and see how important the school system thinks these officers are. I mean, they are important. So, but next April, I would ask, let's start talking with the schools and let's see what we can do.
That's a fair statement, and we will do that, so I'll make sure we put on the calendar for when our budget's engaged, at least we have conversations and taking some facts up with the superintendent and the board of ed as to some specifics about this. I think it's a good idea.
All right, well, current agreement is on the table for approval tonight. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. There's no nays. That was unanimous decision, unanimous approval. All right, ordinances. Ordinance to rezone 1.03 acres located at 303 Beach Street from R8 to general business. This is application Z17-000-003 submitted by H.C. Dormany Estate.
Wes, you were not here when we had our workshop, and I asked the conflict questions. So I thought maybe out of an abundance of caution, I'll go ahead and do the conflict questions for both of these, two ordinances, number 8 and 9.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
Have any of these applicants or opponents to the application contributed at least $250 to any of the campaigns for election during the past 2 years?
No.
Do you or any members of your family have a property interest that would be affected by the proposed rezoning or reclassification of the property, whether it be a positive or negative impact?
No.
Do you or any members of your family have a financial interest in any business entity that has a property interest in any real property that would be affected by the proposed rezoning or reclassification of the property, whether it be a positive or negative impact?
No.
Thank you, sir.
All right, ordinance, do you want to take both of these together or separately?
Let's take them both together.
Take them both together, okay. All right, I'll take a motion for accepting 8 and 9.
So moved.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? No nays. That was unanimously approved. Under new business, proposal for Tift County Housing Authority tenants covered by the VAWA Act of 2013. Pete?
Okay, thank you. Council, if you remember, we talked a little bit about this act that protects tenants who are victims of domestic violence that are housed or that have housing within the Housing Authority. We've been presented this memorandum of understanding for the city to partner with the Housing Authority for a couple things, and this really includes transferring or establishing new accounts and talking about households, who would be the responsible person, and then a confidentiality agreement that would be required from each resident in order for us to identify them if something has happened. So within the Housing Authority, the act is solid. It's a good partnership between the city and the Housing Authority. And what this says is that if this happens, we understand certain things that we would have to do as a utility provider. So I would suggest and recommend that we move forward with that. The only thing that I would probably caution us, this particular one calls for a $25 deposit, and our deposit for utilities is $150 for water, gas, and sewer. So the $25, I would recommend that we split the $150 in half and say that the deposit up front would be $75. The other $75 would have to be made up within 6 months via payments, and I think that's fair. But we just have a serious problem with collections Not that this pertains to the housing authority, but I think for our protection, I would recommend that we start with the top deposit, if this happens, of $75, and then the agreement that the remainder would be made up over the next 6 months. So I completely concur. I think it's a great partnership that we have with the housing authority, and that would be the only change that I would probably recommend to you.
All right, and so this is, just so I'm clear, this is just for individuals who live at housing
That's correct.
authorities who fall under the VAWA Act.
That's correct. That would move to a different
And relocate.
location. Yes. Right now, our system does not allow the transfer deposits for utilities, so it really is cumbersome. Our new software would allow to do that. So it is, if someone has to move because of domestic violence, something happens in their life that they have to move units, we're trying to make it as easy as possible, but this is inside the housing authority.
Just curious, I know we're waiting a long time on that, on our new financial software. When will that take place?
Houston Schultz, did he leave? His department is up first, and I think, if I remember correctly, he comes online in December. When? Mid-December.
Mid-December. And then when will customer service, I guess, just. is
It'll
there a
probably
plan?
be,
That will be one of the last pieces, that will be March.
March, okay,
so we'll be fully off roll. This is a very huge undertaking, but we're excited to get it.
Sure, I understand. Once, we get to a point where we can do the transfers, is there a way to revisit this once everything's implemented, once the
I think so. If they're in good standing, I think what we can do is look, if they have a deposit on record,
Yeah.
then we just transfer it, then it really
Transfer to
is
new service.
null and void.
Okay. All right.
But this is the
Alright.
first time an MOU has been presented for us in the housing authority.
All right, I'll take a motion, to approve the proposal as presented. Yeah, sure.
Do we know what kind of, going from 25 to the 150, do we know how big a hardship this is gonna be on people that are already struggling?
I really can't, and I've done some research with other cities and housing authorities, and a lot of the cities, they really charge the same deposit. So, some has said just do what you think is best for your collections, but for under the arrangements, the hardship, a lot of them have deposits already on file, so all they'd have to do is we would give them a check, they would give us the money in return. So again, it's situation specific, and I really couldn't say if it's hardship or not, but I can tell you that the city collections, bad debt is, we really have to remain cautious with that, but
Is there a number to how many, I guess we haven't had this agreement before, so we wouldn't even kept counting.
yeah, I don't have any
I guess going forward, is there a way to put a number on how many hardship cases that we have that would fall under this category, so we can just know, I guess, if it's, I don't mind, I don't have a problem with what was presented by staff. I was just curious to know if there's a way to maybe track that to see. Not only that, being that I was on vice chair of Bruce Cottage and Patty Cake House, domestic violence doesn't have an income level. It can be all over the place. So, just curious to know how we would track that, if we can.
Well, we could query, housing authority, utility recipients.
Well, I guess, yeah,
in complexes, so we just have to wait and see if we could do something like that. But hardships, I don't have any specifics. With any type of agreement like this, we have to be mindful of it, that's all.
Yeah.
So if they can't pay, what do we do?
Well, there's other methods that we hope that at least get the utilities put on. And they've got to be able to live, so.
That's my point.
Okay. Would the director of the housing authority have this information?
Sir?
Would the director of the housing authority, would she have this information?
She may. Well, we've had a conversation about this. She's the one that presented this. But I can certainly ask if there's any stats that they have.
Yeah. Yeah,
I simply
let's do
do not
that.
know.
Well, we got a proposal on the table. Do you guys want to
Yeah, I don't think there's harm if you wanna table it.
If you wanted to
I
table
could
this
ask.
and we get
Yes.
further information
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, let's table it, that one too.
And I wanna
And let's
strike
see
my
what
comment, if they're with the housing authority, they do have, they are having financial hardship, so I mean, it's, you know, so, you know, even though we do know that domestic violence has no,
Right.
you know, income
Right.
level, but as far as the proposal, you know,
Yeah.
Why don't we just table this and let's get this, information from the housing authority, from the directors, and then bring it back at a later.
So, just to be clear, so we wanna talk about the number of hardship cases that the housing authority has?
Yeah,
well, no, I mean.
we're not the, really the number.
My thing is going forward, tracking going forward, to see how many cases that we have.
They would have to fill out this paper, yeah,
Sure.
we know if.
I mean, cause in my
someone
opinion,
comes-
if it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 10,
we just.
I don't see why we wouldn't just waive the whole thing. It's not that big of an income,
What's,
you know.
what's the dollar amount we're talking,
Yeah.
to be talking about?
It really is, I'm just.
If it's, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, then there's a different,
I just don't
you know,
I mean,
have
somebody has to move because of this issue and they don't have the money for, I mean, so we're not gonna let them have utilities? I mean,
No.
I mean, that's not gonna happen, I hope.
But that's what I'm saying, when their new system comes on board, we would, if they're current on their bill and they do have their deposit on file and whatnot, we would be able to transfer that to the new location that they're gonna be without any interruption of services, period.
So we let the system dictate, or lack thereof, what we can do.
Cause now, now residents, pay the $150, so.
Yeah.
So this is really something very, special, and I don't know how often it happens, I don't know. I don't know if they have those statistics, but they pay it now, but it's just those that have to move, we want to make sure that if we give them the deposit back, that we're at least getting something, or if they're in financial hardship and they don't have money to get set up, then really it's all what you wanna do, I'll have to call Sandra and see if she has any.
Let's see if we can get some more
Details.
information, cause like I say, I mean, if it's less than a handful, I mean,
Just don't know.
I don't think that's gonna be a
Okay.
killer to the bottom line, but if it's several thousand, then, we look at that, maybe a discount on the hookup, but like you say, if we get the new software in, you don't have to necessarily worry about that, cause you can just transfer it over. So, I mean, in March, you wouldn't even have to discount it, they made their deposit, it just transfers without nothing.
Right, then you just said the software should be
We
able
can
to run it in
yeah,
March.
that's my point. Whether we have software or don't have software, we know what the situation is. We don't have to wait for some software to then transfer it. I mean, we do have a thing called a manual transfer, I'm assuming, Wayne, that my point is, the system, we're not gonna let a system affect what we do. That's
I'll see, I'll contact her, I'll see if she has any specifics, and then I'll see if I can query anything out of the housing authority, what we deal with, because
Okay.
unfortunately, we deal with a lot of non-payers, so I'll see what I can find out, and I'll just bring that back to you. There's not a deadline on this, so I think we'll be okay for
All
March.
right, so do we need to make a motion to table?
You can either make a motion to postpone indefinitely or
Yeah.
a motion to postpone to a definite time.
All right.
So either one of
Postpone
those
to
two.
indefinitely, you could get, okay,
Would mean you're not setting a specific time to bring it back.
sure,
So I would suggest you're probably looking at postponement, to postpone indefinitely.
sure, I got you.
I move that.
I got a motion,
Second.
I got a second, any further discussion?
What is, no.
No, no. All those in favor of postponing indefinitely, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. All right, review bids for proposal, natural gas service to Windy Hill Road.
Okay, Vice Mayor, I'm gonna ask that number 11 and 12 be removed from consideration. Roger has been in contact with Tifton Peanut Company. It is late in the season and they were trying to get ramped up for drying. We received 2 bids. One was completely out of line, the other was $25,000 over what we anticipated because of pipes coming out of Louisiana and the Gulf area. So what we've decided, and Tifton Peanut is okay, is that we wait until April, May to go ahead and bring this back around. He's agreed to that. He is okay with that, just putting this off until that time. So what you can do is make a motion to reject all bids that we received, and we'll pick this back up again April, May of next year.
Entertain a motion to reject all bids.
I'll move that.
I got a motion,
I'll say.
a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Council, I think probably number 12, you could do just what you did, just postpone that indefinitely, as we just did on the other item.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to postpone the natural gas service agreement with Tifton Peanut Company to construct 4 natural gas lines until.
Postpone indefinitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Unanimous. All right, next, financial update, Mr. Wayne Putnam.
Lynn.
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 She's looking.
Excuse me, you was there, did you need to address this council, did Lynn look?
No, I'm just here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mr. Mayor and rest of the council, I've placed in front of you a budget report through the month of September. The current month on there is actual September. Year-to-date is through September 30th, 2017. Highlights, since this is 3 months out of the year, what you're looking for expenditure-wise is to be 25% or less. So that's our target number. On the expenditure side up front, there were a couple of departments that were at just over 25%. They were like at 26 or 27%. Those happen to be our general government, public works. Yeah, there was one other one, missed it. And also the cemetery. Those are small enough, I'm not too worried about those at this time because they were just like 1% over the budget so far this year. One item I did look into under the general government, there was one invoice that was posted to the wrong department. There's an invoice will get corrected out. It should be a part of the police department. It got posted under general government, so that will get corrected in the future. Revenue year to date, $4,037,000. Total expenditures for the general fund was $2.7 million. So right now revenues are over expenditures of $1.3 million. Any questions about the general fund at this time? And I'll be glad if you have any other questions, if you want to contact me later, just email me or call me and I'll get any questions answered as you review this more.
The insurance rebate, it normally comes in November, December?
You talking about the insurance premium tax?
Yes,
It comes usually in October,
in October.
yes. And actually, I had a phone call today from Department of Revenue. It went out late last week. We should be getting it this week.
You know what that number is?
No, they did not tell me.
Oh, so we'll just get it, okay.
The money just gets sent to us.
Will you email us that number when you get it?
I will. When I find out, I'll let y'all know.
All right, thank you.
Well, I like this report. I appreciate seeing something like this. Can you add a number down as far as the total expenditures, as the percent used on the next one?
Okay.
I mean, I see 30% revenue, so we know, okay, that's.
Okay. I
that's
can get those added down next time.
Curious
I'll be in
without
there.
doing multiplication.
Okay.
division.
I'll get that added in there for you, sir.
It's great that you brought this.
If you flip the page, on this next page, you'll see the hotel motel tax fund. It's one of our special revenue funds. Year to date so far has been $100,000. Expenditures have been $128,989. Key point there is in the month of September, the city's portion that is paid to the airport was made, a total of $50,000. That was what was budgeted. It was a one-time payment, so that payment will not happen again in the future. I would like maybe to see us spread that out throughout the whole year to the airport, split it up equal amounts throughout the year in the future. And the revenue there comes in, is not a specific day we get those. That's coming directly from the hotels inside the city of Tifton. So it comes in, I don't want to say sporadically, but it's not coming in the same day every month, and we get that. So, and that does not go to the Department of Revenue before it comes to us. It comes directly to us from them. Let the page, you'll find the water fund. Water fund for the month, revenue was $310,000. Expenditures was $174,000. Net revenues over expenditures of $135,000. Year to date, actual revenue was $934,000. Expenditures to date was $508,000. With right now revenues of expenditures $425,000. Go to the next page, you'll see the sewer fund. Month to date, $320,000 in revenue, expenditures of $209,000, revenues over expenditures of $110,800. Year to date, you have revenues of $986,000, expenditures of $662,000, with your revenues over expenditures of $324,000. If you flip that page, you'll come to the gas fund. The gas fund current month revenue of September was $306,000. Expenditures was $228,000. Revenues of expenditure $83,676. This is still one of our warmer months, so revenues are not going to be as high. So that's expected at this time. Year to date so far, the revenue has only been $878,000 with expenditures of $527,000, with the revenues and expenditures of $531,000. And we flip the page. Last one I'm presenting is the solid waste fund. Current revenue $99,557, expenditures of $180,000, which has really revenues under expenditures of $81,000. One of the big items for the month was at the landfill. They had a repair bill on some of the equipment of about around $33,000. So that's a one-time big hit we had happening down there. So that's one explanations why the expenditures were higher than revenue for the month. Year to date, expenditures or revenues only been $293,000 to expenditures of $345,000, and right now the revenues are under expenditures by $52,000 for the year. You also got to remember we also had the inert landfill open up. People could do after Hurricane Irma to bring their stuff in there, so that did also affect some of our revenue for the month also.
Let me ask you this: does GEMA reimburse any sort of repair, maintenance, and repair? If
No maintenance, no repair.
no maintenance or repair, do we know what that reimbursement is going to be? Have we even got to that point?
We have done everything required of us. We're enrolled in the system, so now we're waiting to get someone assigned to us. They will come here and review our records. So the word I'm getting is we qualify for categories A, B, C, D, and E, and they rank these depending on debris or depending on what it is. And if that's the case, we may be able to turn in some of the equipment that has failed during the storm. They're telling me no, but we'll try everything we can.
Gotcha. All right.
Any other questions regarding the budget?
This is a good news picture. I'm looking at the revenue, and you said we're 25%. So all the revenues, looked through, most of them are all above the 25%. Expenditures, 20%, 17%, 14%. Can we expect this next quarter? I mean, is this unusual?
One thing I read that revenue comes in. Most of what you're going to see is your expenditures, for most part, going to probably come about the same amount every month. unless you have a large capital outlay or like you've had a large expenditure like having to repair something like they did at the landfill. Your revenues don't come in all the month at the same time. Property taxes generally are going to come in mostly, we've already billed those, that was billed out, it was recorded, and we collected it. Your local option sales tax comes in once a month. Your business license pretty much come in they're supposed to be due by December 31st is when they're officially due, but then they don't have to have them paid by like April 1st, if I remember right. So you're going to see fluctuations of those revenues, different sources year round. Whereas our expenditures are more stable. Expenditures because of the timing of some of them, you'll have some hit more than others.
So when, in the
And like
general fund, we've only spent 20% of the money through 25% of the year, so we can expect to see that to continue, tell me.
Yes, sir.
So we're only gonna spend 80% of what the budget.
Yes, sir. Hopefully.
No, easy way, no.
Hopefully we'll come in under budget real nicely, but things change.
Is hope your only strategy?
No.
That was
Here's the other thing you also got to remember. You're going to see 2 months out of the year when we have a third pay period hit. In those months, your expenditures will bump up, and we have not hit that month with 3 pay periods yet. That should be coming up in the next month or two. So you will see a bump up 1 month that will be not like the rest, so that you'll see it change.
To answer your question, we're tracking very closely. I think all the departments are doing great. We'll see an uptick with the storm, like in overtime, watching the PD and fire department very closely too. So the department heads are doing a good job, but we're tracking, watching the costs. Ricky did a complete overhaul on a dozer. That's just has to be done with preventive maintenance. So capital expenditures, overtime, we're really watching that.
It's a very good news story. That's what I'm looking for encouragement that it's gonna continue. Wayne kind of says it is.
It is.
I think it should, Mr. Folk. Oh, no.
You no longer use hope. It should.
I want to also comment on
I'm trying to be
enterprise, on the enterprise funds, and we're starting to level out, but let's just take natural gas, for instance, and it is a delicate balancing act that, you remember last year, natural gas lost money, so we have to be cautious, we have to be able to project, and the weather dictates, so there's a lot to it. You just, we can't come out and say, are we gonna, make this much money, or are we gonna be in the same situation again? It is very, very delicate, I would say that, and it's, hopefully we do have a cold winter, but just the enterprise funds are, that's the trick, so.
It's predicted to be a warm winter, I think.
Hope not.
One more time.
2 things. On the natural gas side, the partnership that we did, the benefit with UPS, is that showing, is that paying dividends?
It is. I would say yes. I mean, the usage is up. They did a lot of the conversions, so they are a very healthy customer. The Tifton Peanut will be a very healthy customer. We're looking for outlets. Hopefully this marketing scheme that we've done will open up some doors and increase our usage, therefore adding to the revenue. So we're doing all the right things. So now it's just business planning and making sure that we're getting out there growing that business.
And then, how much of that revenue, don't we have an agreement with adjoining counties to purchase gas from us?
We do. We're going to be revisiting those. We do have an agreement with Berrien County. We do have other farms that in the ag section that we do have contracts with. So we just making sure that we have a great partnership. The contracts are stable. Our price and off season and in season are where they need to be.
Sounds good. All right.
Okay, one other thing I would like to mention after our last meeting when we was talking about mailing inserts for advertising. I talked to the gentleman from Municode. They are going to, starting this, should be this billing site, they were putting the flyer inside in bills to everybody, advertising out that you can advertise in there. And I explained to him that y'all would like to have local businesses have first crack at putting those advertising inserts in there, and he understood. So they will be starting this month. This should be this billing cycle. They should be included in there for everybody to start seeing.
Are we gonna see those flyers first before they go in, or?
It's the same one I showed y'all, the red, it's that same one.
Okay.
And he's having it, instead of people calling either y'all or the office here, he wants them to call them directly to do the advertising. So there won't be any pressure on us to get something in there. They'll all go to him, and it's basically first come, first serve on who comes and uses it.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
Wayne.
welcome.
Thanks, man.
All right, Pete, city manager
Yep.
report.
Thank you. Just two things. You know, when you talk about financials and what we're doing and how we're doing it, I wanted to publicly commend Karen Sanders. Karen's still here. That she has been in the bloody trenches. The auditors are here, and she has prepped better than anybody I've ever seen in of course my tenure. That, you know, auditors once a year, it's just a grueling time for the financial and in that department. So she has done all this pre-work. The auditors came in, everything was prepared, and I've been asking them each day, and they're looking hard trying to find something for the city of Tifton. And I wanted to commend and thank Karen for your work in doing that, because I know it's just draining to go through that. So I wanted to publicly commend her, and the work's not going to definitely go unnoticed when we come out of it. So I wanted to share that with you. And then lastly, hometown holidays. Lucretia has been working feverishly in preparation for this too. And just in our talks, you know, everybody now says, well, the festivals are great, we come to it, and there's very few people know how it was pulled off. And just to give you, for instance, hometown holidays, Lucretia, she goes out and she solicits, you know, 50 grand, herself, just to make sure that we can do what we do during hometown holidays. And I know it's been just a task and trial by fire, but doing that single-handedly, it's a big task too. So thank you for doing that for Tifton and how you do that. So I wanted to share those two stories with you, because it really is an amazing feat, but it doesn't go unnoticed on what they're doing. That's all I have.
I have a question, my favorite topic, brown water.
Yes. Yes, brown water.
Why would I have brown water today?
Because LSU won?
Penalty. It's a
Penalty.
penalty.
Penalty. But if I'm gonna have brown water, please don't let it be on Monday. All right? Any
Guys,
other day.
That's when he washes his whites.
That's joking manner,
She
but
had already washed the whites and she made the comment. You tell Pete. Thankfully, I washed the whites before the brown water hit.
we are flushing hydrants. I think we had a turnover on 20th Street. Is that correct, guys?
We're flushing hydrants, should be done today, but we had maintenance issue over the weekend, and so this is why we have it today.
So tomorrow, are we continuing flushing? Are they done?
Discontinued, so we're checking it.
Okay.
We're supposed to, try to shut it in our oil pump.
Okay. And if you'll check with Jack on site, if we switch over any other lines we have to flush, would you make sure Jessica knows that, please, so we could put it on Facebook? We turned over. I didn't anticipate any brown water on the new switch over. It's the darndest thing. I just
I've never
beat my head on that wall. It's just every day is a surprise. But paving, they're core sampling and composite testing tomorrow. The pavers should be in here. I've mandated this week to finish, to take care of well, it's not a hump anymore, but where they went into the asphalt. That is going to be done, and then they're going to be studying in front of the hospital. So as soon as that is done, the pavers will be in here, and they'll be out of their way. The conversions on the water lines and now all that should be done. I would say by this week we should be complete with switchovers, if I'm correct in that.
Hopefully it'll be done.
There's no hope. We tell these people they got to be done, so they're going to be done. They look like,
Refreshing the contract.
Remember you said,
yeah. So
remember you said that.
so once that's done, the sidewalk crews are going to finish all their segments, and that should be it for 20th Street, and we could have a ribbon cutting or whatever y'all want, whatever we can be done with this project.
Be like the Brooklyn Bridge, we'll just all walk down 20th Street. Good deal.
Just get the hump fixed.
Pete, I would like to add something, if you don't mind. Election season is upon us. District 1 and District 3 are up for election seats along with SPLOST. I just want to remind our citizens that early voting begins today and is through November 3rd, with Election Day being on Tuesday, November 7th. So go exercise your right to vote. That's it. We are adjourned. Do we have any executive session? No executive session? Okay.
Make a motion to.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Well, no, I mean, do I hear a motion? I came back.
I'll make the motion.
You made the motion,
Second.
second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
We out of here.